Welcome, everyone, to episode 22, the Dance to Oneness Podcast. My name is Amy Shine, your host. And this week I have one of my favorite people. His name is Connor Hill, and he's an Access Consciousness Facilitator. He's also a Conscious Horse, Conscious Rider Facilitator. And he is, I would actually say he's a master of Symphony of Possibilities sessions. He does incredible body work and plays with energy. He's got a real playfulness with being in the world. And today's episode, we called it The Rightness of Your Wrongness.
Wow.
Welcome, Connor.
I think that's the best I've done yet at receiving such accolades. That was amazing. I could hear it, and I actually didn't go to something's different, and I apologize for the background noise, but my kitchen's been getting worked on, and the plumber is here.
You're so wrong, Connor.
9 o'clock. I know. Oh my goodness.
Wow, it's actually amazing because I introduced you like as this magical body worker, which you are, because I've had several sessions with you. We've been in Symphony of Possibilities.
A lot of fun.
Yeah, we have.
Yeah.
We've been in Symphony Possibility classes, which, if any of you don't know, it's kind of like it's a more advanced class you can take with Dane here. It's not that advanced. Just need to take a foundation and a bars foundation and ESP to go to SOP, which is Symphony of Possibilities. And it really is this like play, like with energy and movement and like just everything in the universe. And I remember like my first session with Connor, like I think I just laughed the whole time on the table.
Is that the choice of the last level 2-3? Oh
no, I think it was New York. Yeah.
New York Symphony of Possibilities? Okay.
Yeah.
So I actually remember doing a session on you in Florida at the last level 2-3 before level 2-3 became Choice of Possibilities.
Was that like Orlando with Gary or something?
Orlando with Gary, yeah.
That was a long time ago.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. But do you know what's funny?
But you don't have to. You can make yourself wrong about not remembering it. Kind of like how when you have somebody you had sex with or you kissed, and the one person remembers it, the other one doesn't.
I know.
I can't believe you remember that, and I don't. I can't believe you don't remember it.
This show is going to be like, how wrong are you? No, Connor, you're more wrong. No, I'm wrong. No, you're wrong. Well, it's just funny because it's like you're talking about all this like magic and body work and this energy, and then you're like, but I'm wrong.
Right. I'm like, well, and the way you were saying it, I was like, it's the first time I've really been like, wow, that's true. Whoa. Like that's kind of where I'm at right now. I'm like, thank you. That's amazing.
But so when you do something that's so magical, right? When you do something that's so magical that you cannot explain, that you cannot prove to anyone, you don't have any like justification for how it works, then you have to be wrong because it doesn't make sense.
Is that how that works?
I don't know. Like I'm just looking at it. I'm like, wow. Like because I'm looking at it through. So it's easy for me to see you. It's easy for me to acknowledge you and how magic you are. And like when you work on bodies, like you explode universes when you work on bodies. And so it's so easy for me to see that, right?
I mean, that's what I was pretty sure I was doing. But God.
But if you can't understand, so this reality doesn't understand that. That's really not possible according to this reality. Yeah. So then according to this reality, then you have to be wrong.
Yeah. I'm also like, so like, I'm also so blown away. I thought he was going to go to Home Depot, but apparently not.
This is going to be our noisiest podcast ever.
It's great. Yeah. Man,
That's what your head sounds like when you're judging yourself.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, I'm good at that. Well, it's so like, can I ask you what we were talking about before we turned on the podcast?
Yeah, sure.
So I'm actually in this place of like, well, you said you had a private session with Gary, and he talked about how you're right all the time. I'm like, well, obviously now you know something about rightness and wrongness that I do not. I'm like, so tell me what it was. Oh my God.
Oh my goodness. Oh, well, what I'm starting to see is, so, okay, I'll just give you a little past backlog story on my right and wrongness journey. And then you can give us a little bit of your right and wrongness journey, Connor. So for me, the wrongness was really strong for many years. So there was a good 5 years where I walked around thinking, I am so fucked up. I'm so wrong. I'm evil to the core. There's something terribly, awfully bad, vicious, evil about me. That was really like that core thing walking around with me. And then like I found this kind of program, like a spiritual program. And it was all about trying to do the right thing and be good and be right and be perfect and do the right thing and say the right thing. And if you don't say the right thing, you actually have to tell the person how sorry you are. And every night before you went to bed, this is the AA program, by the way, every night before you go to bed, you do inventory and you look at what you did wrong that day and you apologize for it and you apologize to the people. So, you know, if you were mean to someone or if you were shorthanded with someone, you go back and you apologize for your wrongness, for your shortcomings. So for me, I spent many years walking around with this wrongness. Then I started to create something that I thought was right. So I tried to be right to not be wrong. And I spent so long trying to be right. And finally, if I can just figure it out, how to be right, how to do everything right, how to show up the right way, then I'm finally right. The whole title of this show is The Rightness of Your Wrongness. The thing about rightness is that when you're right, you're also wrong. So you never actually get to be free.
And when you're wrong, you're right.
Well, that's the brilliant thing. I never saw that until recently. When you're wrong, you're right in your wrongness.
Yeah, I've got the first like years ago, the first time I saw that was I was reading the 10 Keys to Total Freedom, and Gary there's like a line of Gary saying, yeah, I just realized one day that when I was trying to make myself wrong was when I was most right, or something like that. I don't remember exactly what it says in the book. And I was like, what the fuck? Oh my God. That's how, oh no, it was when I'm wrong, that's when I know I'm right. Or when I'm making myself wrong, that's when I know I'm right. And I'm
That's
like,
insane.
what? Oh,
so how does that show up? So if I'm making myself wrong, I'm actually making myself right. How does that show up for you?
Actually, more and more and more, like ever since that first reading, that line in that book, it has sort of morphed and changed into different things. Like for the longest time, like for me, it was like I would kept learning about where I was making myself wrong, where I thought it was true. Like that was, I was like somebody like somebody would be like, why are you making yourself wrong about that? And I'm like, that I didn't even know. First, I didn't know I was making myself wrong. And second, are you sure? like
That's brilliant. That piece there, because it's like how many people are, so like a lot of people might listen to this podcast and like, what are they even talking about? Because are you actually even aware of how many times a day you make yourself right and you make yourself wrong? And that was that thing that came up for me with Gary, is like, I didn't even realize I was doing this.
Can you say that again? Because I missed it.
I didn't even realize until he started asking me questions and kind of like, and me starting to look at these things, I didn't realize how much I was still trying to make myself right. So how many of you listening to this are not even aware of how much you try to make yourself right or wrong?
Yeah, and everything that doesn't allow you to be aware of when you're making yourself right or wrong, we destroy and uncreate it all.
Yes.
Right, wrong, good, bad, pop, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. I pretty much now just like more recently, I've just been acknowledging it as like an energy, not trying to figure out where I'm right and where I'm wrong and blah, blah, blah. Just being like, okay, if I'm doing wrongness, it's this right and wrong energy. I'm like you said, you're not free. It's like you're choosing either one of them. You're not free. So, okay, pock and pod that energy, and I've got all the right and wrong clearing loops that we have, and I just start running them. And most of the time, if I remember to run them, because sometimes it's I so enjoy heaping myself in wrongness. Apparently, that I don't remember to be like to realize, wait, this is a wrongness energy or rightness again, and if I just run these clearings, it's going to change. Or just realizing, okay, I'm going to stop choosing this. What else would I like to choose?
Oh, I love that. Thank you for bringing that up, because you just said it. Like, it's actually not about whether you're trying to make yourself right or whether you're trying to make yourself wrong. It's the energy. And one of the things Gary was showing me, he was like, it's like when it's not light, when it's not ease, when it's heavy, you are doing that. You're either making yourself right or you're making yourself wrong. And what you're doing with that is you're doing control.
Yep.
You're trying to control everything. And I just wrote, I don't know if you can see in the comments, this is what he said: right is always the way you cut off everything that is possible, but so is wrong.
Yeah.
So right or wrong is always the way you cut off everything that is possible.
And if anyone watching, if you're having money troubles or problems, you might want to start looking at where you're making yourself right or wrong.
Right,
and even as I say this, you're probably like, I'm like, oh no, I'm so wrong about making myself right, or which is just more of the same shit. But that's this thing. It just stops. It stops all receiving. It stops everything, and it stops the money flows.
Yeah, and it's so interesting, because what's coming up for me too around all this conversation is that, like, almost like the wrongness, it was almost like better to be wrong than it was to be right. Like, being wrong is almost like, because at least if you're wrong, people are like, feel sorry for you and they try to take you out of it. But if you're right, you're just a fucking righteous bitch.
Yeah. Which, interestingly enough, righteous bitches seem to have like way better lives.
Oh, I don't know. I asked Gary, I said, so like, how did you get to the point where you gave this up? And he said, when I realized that being right or being wrong, you can have them both in here, didn't give me freedom, and it didn't allow me to have choice, and it didn't give me everything that I desired.
So now notice that energy for anyone. If you're like, notice the like for me, I'm not there's just no rightness. There's no wrongness. And I think if we like, one of the other ways we like to talk about it is like, imagine yourself walking in a forest. Do the trees and the forest and the animals make you right or wrong? No.
No, thanks for saying that, because you're right. Like, you're right, Connor. You're so right.
So fucking right.
You're so right. Because when you go out in nature, so it's interesting. So when you go out in nature, you walk through the forest. You don't ever, I don't know, at least I don't ever feel like fighting with the tree.
Yeah.
I'm not like, fuck you, tree. I'm right and you're wrong, or you're wrong and I'm right. Like, but it's interesting when I run into people in day-to-day like interactions, how much it's interesting for me to observe how much I want to fight. Like, I want to make people wrong so I can be right. And I've noticed it even today, just for like, for about 60 seconds, like how much in my head energetically, like I fight daily interactions with people. And I was like, whoa, I want to make her wrong. And then I was like, oh, I want to make her wrong because she skipped ahead in the queue or whatever when we're getting off the plane. And I was like, okay, so I make her wrong. Okay, then I get to be right. And then I noticed myself judging myself then. So I was like, oh, okay, so I got to make her wrong. Then I got to be right for like 60 seconds. And then I get to make myself wrong for doing that, which is the rightness of your wrongness, or the wrongness of your rightness. it's all a vicious circle.
And now you're making me wonder where I was making myself right, if that was a rightness or if I was just choosing to be like, all these people are stupid.
Well,
because I'm like, no, really, I actually think you're right. Like when you have the people getting onto public transportation, like a train at an airport, and they're like, I have to get on first. And then they like, once they get on, they just stop. And you're like, really? You could have gotten on last, and then you'd be in that same position. But now all you're doing is blocking all of traffic, and I want to kill you.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much.
I'm like,
but
wait,
like if you were
so
out
is that rightness or is that awareness?
well, yeah, but it's how you respond to it, right? Are you interesting point of view about the idiots and the stupids that we live with on the planet, or do you resist and react to all the stupidity and the idiocracy on the planet?
Well, that's where I'm just not sure. I'm like, is it resistance and reaction if I'm like, if only those doors closed really hard so that I could just like push them slightly and then it like chopped them in half. And then like nobody worried about it. So we just kept driving the train. Because if we actually did that and they did get chopped in half, then there would be like a dead body and it'd be bloody and there'd be guts all over the place. And people would be like, oh my God. And then they'd have to like call the ambulance and then I'd be late for my flight. So, you know.
Well, you know what? A moment, what does Gary say? Like a moment of unconsciousness creates a lifetime of like, I don't know, what's the saying he says?
10,000 years of pain and suffering.
One second of unconsciousness creates 10,000
Yeah.
years. So if you were out in the forest, like, and you were with all the animals and you like turned off your awareness for a second, you'd be eaten, right?
Yeah.
Like if you were in the jungle, you'd be eaten.
Yeah.
So maybe you just want to like.
Oh, I got it. Oh, I get it. Yeah.
Attack the stupidity. Okay. You want to just eat the stupid people.
Yeah, I do. Oh, I will start eating them now.
But I get it all goes back to what you were talking about, like the energy. Like,
it's funny because you're actually right. Like that's where I would make myself wrong and try to be right into the rightness of someone else's point of view of no, you shouldn't do that. Or this is, and actually, you know, I will say for people out there, if you're like, I don't know if I'm trying to do right or wrong. If you're thinking should, you're done. You're trying to do right. If you're thinking, what should I do? Or this is what I should do. You're going for rightness.
Wow, Connor, that's epic. We need to meme Connor. Someone meme Connor there. He said, if you're thinking you should do something, you're doing right and wrong. So today, she went ahead, like it was actually like the example was we're getting off the plane. You know the way like the people at the back, like the people at the front get off first? Well, she was at the back, but she decided to make her way up and she wasn't letting us out, even though we were like next in line, you know? So I like
my God, die.
She was right next to my seat and I was like, no, I'm going. And then I went. But it was like that energy of, oh, I should just let her go. That's that energy you talked about. I should just let her go.
Yeah. That's you being right.
Me trying to be right, to make her wrong, to make me right.
Yeah.
To make me wrong.
Rather than being like, you're a stupid bitch, you should probably die. Which is so funny because we think that that's like the fighting. But
we do think that's the fighting, yeah.
But that's not fight. That's just
unawareness. Well, it's that energy of when you choose to be unaware. Well, if you choose to be unaware in the jungle, you'll die.
Yeah.
If you're not aware of your surroundings.
Well, eventually, probably. Yeah.
Yeah. You might get away with it a few times.
Yeah. I'm just like, are you still looking for the rightness in awareness?
Wow. That's pretty deep.
Like,
yeah. Yeah.
I mean, like, I find myself constantly trying to find the rightness in what I create. And then I make myself wrong for what I haven't created.
Oh, goodness.
Rather than just fucking creating. Actually, yeah. And one of my favorite shows is Penguins of Madagascar.
I've never seen it.
Oh my God, it's so great. It's so funny. Have you seen Madagascar, Escape from Madagascar, or just maybe it's just called Madagascar. It's a cartoon. So it's supposedly for kids. I say supposedly because it is fucking funny. And it's like penguins in Madagascar. They start off the film just like, it's hilarious to me. And these like 3 penguins like do all this stuff and they like break a whole bunch of things and there's a giant explosion. And then they're like, whoa, we are awesome.
I love it.
Yeah.
But that's that energy of the 3-year-old, you know? Like when you go out and play and you're just like, oh, I can do this and I can do that and I can play here and I can play there. And it's just the joy of creation.
Yeah. And then we do this thing of like rather than having the joy of creation, we try to make the joy of creation right. So we try and do it as the thing we should do, and then we look for it and we try to create the new rightness, and then we make ourselves wrong the moment we're not being joyful and creating. Oh, so fun.
Well, the moment you're not joyful is the moment you're either doing right or wrong. The minute when it gets heavy, it's when you're not being you. So when you're not being you is when you go into this reality and you do right and wrong judgment.
How do you know when you're being you?
When I'm joyful and light and easy. When I'm heavy and contracted and frustrated, like that's when I'm not being me. That's when I'm buying a lie, or I'm in someone else's reality, or I'm trying to control something. I'm trying to be right. I'm trying to control it so I can be right.
And I was actually doing a call with Paul Kearney last year. So like
Kearney.
Yeah. Kearney.
Paul Kearney.
Oh my God, I don't know how to say it. Kearney.
Yeah.
Paul. How do you say Paul?
Paul.
I have to
Kearney.
say it short. I have to like shorten
Paul
them
Kearney.
out. Paul Kearney. Paul Kearney. I was doing a call with Paul Kearney.
There you
and
go.
We were having a. How do you say laugh?
Having a laugh.
Having a laugh.
We would say in Ireland having the crack, but in America that means
doing a call with Paul
really
Kearney and having a crack.
Having the crack.
Smoking a little bit of the crack, you know.
In Ireland, we don't have crack like that. We just have crack. It's actually Irish for fun. But go on anyway.
Okay, good deal.
Yeah.
Oh, it was fun. And I was like, actually, because he's like, will you do the judgment process with me? And I was like, actually, how do you know when you're judging? Like, because anytime someone's like, do the judgment process, I'm like, well, you know what? First, I think I'd have to figure out exactly how to decipher when I'm judging and not. And he just went, actually, I know I'm judging when I'm thinking. Awesome. Muchas gracias. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Plumber Man, for helping Connor's Kitchen.
Yeah.
That's interesting. So he says, whenever I'm thinking, I'm judging.
Yeah. And so I've just looked at that and I went, every time I'm thinking, am I judging? And I'm like, and I got a yes. And I'm like, wow.
Oh.
I'm like, okay. So somewhere I'm trying to make myself right or wrong. When I'm thinking.
So how have you gotten out of that, Connor? For someone who's watching this and is like, I'm constantly in my head thinking.
Well, you know, I think I would actually put it best. Were you on the staff call yesterday?
I wasn't on live, but I'll get the replay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Simone really said it brilliantly with like, to me, I maybe I shouldn't be saying this because it was the Access Consciousness staff call, but hey, well, if I get in trouble, I get in trouble. I'll be wrong. Yes. There we go. Rightness and my wrongness. And she said, like, have any of us, really all of us, like, acknowledged just how fast we're expanding? Now, if you haven't done any Access Consciousness, it's like you just now, in this moment watching this video, I guarantee it, you have now started expanding if you were not previously. And so it's like, I'm just looking at it, it's like, it's not over. The rightness and wrongness isn't over. I'm just expanding more and more. And it's like, oh my God, is that a bug? Huh. Sorry. There's a funky looking bug on my camera. Man, weird how something can just grab my attention. Who knew a bug could pull so much energy? Just like expanding. And so it's like, how to say this? Like I would say, when I first started Access Consciousness, since this is dancing into oneness and you are big in dance, like I was big into all sports. And I was like, are you ever done with any sport? Like you can find the best player of any sport or best athlete, and they would never say they're done. They're always looking for more. You can probably find the best dancer, and there's always more. And so, like, am I over rightness and wrongness? No, I'm just discovering more and more places where I'm still doing rightness and wrongness. And is there, a place where rightness and wrongness doesn't exist? Like, yeah, it's in total awareness. And it's like I wouldn't be able to say. It's more of like when you're dancing, you don't go, how do you know, how did you become when do you know you're dancing? Or how did you get to the place that you are a dancer?
Yeah, it's funny. Someone actually asked me recently about that. Like, how did I get to where I am with movement? And I was like, what? That was like the weirdest question I'd ever been asked, because I was like, I just moved. So it's like a similar, like that. Yeah, I get it. Like there's no formula for this. Yeah. It's like choice, movement, choice, creation, action, choice. And like you said, like there's just always more and more and more.
And do you feel like, or do you have a sense that you're always dancing at your best?
No.
Or do you have some days where you're like, fuck, things just aren't like working?
For me, it's more moments than days now.
Yeah.
But it's definitely like, but also there's like, for me, it's like the sense that more is all, just like you said, there's more is always possible. Yeah. And I'm always going for the more. So when I know that more is possible, I'm not choosing it, or I'm not creating it. That's when I get like, like what? And that's when I really then get to discover, oh, here's another layer of judgment. Here's another layer of right and wrong. Here's another layer of where I stop myself. Here's another layer of where I'm doing control.
And it's like just. So it's like, the thing is we like look at this, it's like instead of being like, how did I get to it? It's like a great question. I hadn't really thought of, like, I would not say I'm there by any means of like never being right and never being wrong. But I would say I am like, what would that be like?
Well, it's interesting because my question almost was like, what's the right way to get out of the rightness? Or what's the right? Because I said something to Gary. He's like, you're looking for the right way to get out of the rightness. I was like, oh my God, I am, like, and I know that because from the start, I've always been like, can you just give me the formula? Can you give me the instructions? And I have people who come to my classes all the time, and that's how we've been entrained. Give me the method, give me the instructions, give me the step-by-step. Because if I do the step-by-step, I'll finally get to the right thing that gives me the freedom, or gives me whatever, like, gives me the entry into heaven. Like I grew up Catholic, like you do the right things, you go to heaven. Like there's all, like, that's what we've been so entrained to get.
And the cool part about Access Consciousness is it actually gives you steps, but you can't get there from just steps. You eventually have got to really just go, I'm going to choose this now.
Yeah. But from the energy of like, so this is what I was looking at. It's like, if there was no right and wrong, how would you choose?
Yeah, that's a great question.
So like think about yourself as like a 3-year-old, like
And
when you were a 3,
because honestly, you say that, I'm gonna start using that.
well, that's what I got in the last 2 days with this whole right and wrong thing. I was like, oh, like even right now, like, even if you go outside and you're like, what restaurant will I go to?
Yeah.
Are you choosing from, oh, that looks fun, or that's
Yeah.
the more that fun towards
Yeah.
the fun energy, light energy? Or are you going, well, I don't really want Mexican because I had Mexican last night, and Italian makes my belly hurt.
Yeah.
And let me go for vegan because that's what the right choice is.
Yeah.
Like, and so as a child, we didn't have, like, before the age of 3, we didn't have that. So when you got up as a 3-year-old, like, I remember being like, bye, I'm going out to play. And like, I'd be gone all day,
Oh,
and I would
amazing,
come
yeah.
back when I'm hungry. So it was like, I didn't have all that computation in my world.
Yeah.
And so as a 3-year-old, you just choose. You're like, you play over here and then you're bored and then you go play somewhere else and then you go in and you get some food and then you leave again. Like,
yeah. And then all of us instantly, anyone watching this or listening is going, well, you can't just do that because there's no way to make money.
oh, God.
You can't do that and make money.
What if you could, though?
Well, and like, yeah, I mean, what do you know? Anybody out there, what do you know? Like, I'm like, yeah, I know I can't just go play in the sand all day and have that. Like, I couldn't go next door and just play in the sand all day and that would make me money.
But that,
I mean, I might be able to create a way to do that.
But is that even fun for you anymore? That might have been fun when you were 3.
Yeah.
But that's not fun anymore. Like, it wouldn't be fun for me to go and play in the sand all day. But the energy of playing in the sand is fun. I don't want to play in the sand. I'll get bored after. Do you notice how kids do the same thing over and over on repetition and don't get bored?
So I guess the other question is, though, are you making that play of a 3-year-old right?
Good question. Yeah.
Like, what is really going beyond right and wrong? Like, and what would you like to create your life as for anyone out there?
Yeah.
I like how we started the call with being like, how do I even know when I'm right and when I'm wrong? And then that's the start. And then from there, once you recognize when you're choosing right or choosing wrong, then you can recognize it and make a different choice.
And am I choosing right here or am I choosing what's fun?
Yeah. Or am I making fun what's the right choice? Like, for a while, I was like, what really is fun to me? And I started pocking and potting everything that was fun. I was like, okay, everything that I think is fun, pock and pot.
Yeah, that's brilliant.
And it actually, the year that I did that, I like literally did that for a whole year. I didn't like try to like put my mind on it. I was just like, I just was just like doing it because I just wanted to see what would show up. And it was amazing. It was like, all these things that I thought I like felt like I needed, I wanted to do and I should do, and all these things, like, they started falling away from my life, and I started working as a certified facilitator more.
Yeah. I love that because you have what this reality tells you is fun.
Yeah. And what I like drinking on a Saturday night.
Yeah.
There was once upon a time in my life, I could not imagine not drinking on a Saturday night. I was like, what do you do? I was, what the hell else would you do on a Saturday night? Oh my God, it sounds so boring. I'm like, what am I doing now on a Saturday night? Like going to bed at 10 o'clock and reading.
I know. And
24-year-old me would be like, oh, boring.
Connor, we have a question here actually from someone in the chat. I can't see their name because they're texting on Facebook, but it says, is anything in whatever way we're making it the way a formula? So I think what she means is like, whatever they're saying, like, this is the way, is that a formula? I think earlier we were talking about having, like, the step-by-step instructions, like, this is how you get to here.
Maybe. I mean, and the reason I say maybe is because I'm saying, well, what is a formula to you?
Yeah.
And have you decided formulas are wrong or right? Like, what if a formula got you what you wanted? But you really have to look like to me, at least, what I've discovered really works for me is like, what do I really want here?
And what will this choice create?
Yeah.
Do you ever like meet someone and like they tried something and then they like try to tell you, you have to do this because I did this and it got me this?
Oh, that's me. I'm that person. I tell, oh my God, you have to try this.
You
This
have
is
to do
amazing.
this. You have to take this
I'm
supplement.
like, you guys have got to go skydiving. It's fucking awesome.
And someone's like, I don't want to fucking jump out of a plane.
Yeah.
Well, because it worked for you, but it might not work for someone else.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, you know, and the difference to me, like, is it's almost like if you've, I shouldn't say like the difference. One of the things, I don't know why this is just coming up to talk about it, but it's like, you know, if you ever taught like what you're talking about, if you ever call someone or you talk to someone and they've been to a place that you're going to go to, let's say it's like Australia, or no, let's use a smaller one, like geographically, like you're going to go to Rome. And you talk to someone, they're like, oh my God, you have to go do this, and you have to go do this, and you have to go do this, and you need to take a picture in front of the Colosseum, and you need to do this, and you need to do this. That's one way. And then actually, like, there's other people that I've talked to where it's like, they're like, well, what kind of a traveler are you? Do you like history? Do you like food? Do you like art? Do you like the outdoors? Do you like people? Do you like, what do you like to do when you travel? And then from there, then you go, well, I like to do the outdoors. And they're like, well, then you need to probably not go to Rome. You know,
That's true. Rome is not the great outdoors. It's walking around looking at buildings.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, it's interesting that you brought that up, or however that got brought up. But right, like you look at like that's the difference between rightness and wrongness. Rightness is I need to go take a picture in front of the Colosseum. Wrongness is, oh my God, I didn't take a picture in front of the Colosseum. Beyond right and wrong is, what the fuck would I like to do?
Yeah.
I mean, like, you've been to Rome. What's your favorite part about Rome?
Oh, I don't know. I went there before access.
Oh, okay.
I walked around and did all the buildings and stuff. And
So you see, you didn't even like it.
No, I didn't like. Now it might be a bit easier because I have tools of access and I know I'm
Right.
aware of entities, which I wish I'd known when I went there because I couldn't sleep when I was there. But Rome isn't a massive pull for me. Like, no, I don't want to walk around buildings. I would prefer to be in nature. I would prefer to be on the beach at Costa Rica. Like, give me an island any day.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, like what I loved in Rome was a pizza place.
Yeah.
I couldn't even tell you the name of it.
And gelato. Pizza and gelato.
Yeah, eating a slice of pizza on a tiny little table on a cobblestone road that's like skinny and just with the night humid air is like, oh my God, I love it.
Yeah.
Or there was another time, I don't know who put it all together, but a bunch of people from Access, somebody was like, hey, we're going to go out for a party because it's somebody's birthday or something like that. And I was like, I don't want to go to bars. God, I spent 15 years of my life like partying all the time. I don't want to go do that. And I went and did it. And it was like such a cool, like there was this whole street of bars and restaurants, but like we took this tiny little 100-year-old elevator to the roof and you climb out on the roof and it's got this gorgeous view over Rome and this like outdoor seating with like weird chairs and everything. And I was like, oh my God, this place is amazing. So things can just be phenomenal. And actually that brings up, like, I remember when I was in Nepal, I was in Kathmandu and I made I made that whole city wrong. I didn't even realize I made the whole city wrong. Wow. Until right now.
I think we make countries wrong too.
Probably.
Yeah. I remember when I was, and this is like tying into the right and wrong. Like I remember I was at 2 and 3 with Dane in Tampa, and I was still living in Ireland.
Yeah.
And I went to Tampa just for this class. And I said to him, look, I have an opportunity to move to America, or actually move anywhere. Right.
Yeah.
And you know, I just finished college or whatever. And he goes, and I was like, and I'm confused or whatever. And he said, you need to go through the alphabet and pod and pock, which that's destroy and create all your conclusions with every country beginning with A, and every country beginning with B, and every country beginning, and he went through the whole alphabet. And I was like,
my God, I love it.
But I was laughing. I was like, oh, he's fucking right. Because I had so many conclusions. Like, I don't want to go there because of that. I can't go there because of that. I can't do that because of that.
Yeah.
Like you said, you just come to a conclusion about a place or a thing or a person. And then you can't receive anything from that.
So true. You cannot receive anything from it.
And you hear that all the time. The Italians are like this. The Irish are like this. The Americans are like this. If you go here, it's going to be like this. If you do basketball, it's going to be like that. If you jump out of a plane.
That's what I heard, because the Irish have to like dance with their hands at their sides. I heard they have to do the same when they have sex. Like they're just like rolling around in the bed without using their hands. I don't really know how it works.
Oh my God. Did someone actually tell you that?
No, I just made it up right now.
That's really good. It's like I never heard that one before.
I just thought about it. It sounded pretty funny.
Oh, that was really funny. I was heard two people say that. That's weird. Because we do dance with our hands by our sides.
Yeah.
But that's a whole different podcast. So that's so funny. So so what if you were willing to like, so this is like, what if you're willing to live your life from what will create greater in this 10 seconds, not what you've been told, sold, bought.
Yeah. And like we said earlier too, like you were saying, like, what would I like to choose? I realize so many times, what would I like to choose? I've got 2 choices that I'm trying to choose from.
But why do you have 2 choices?
Because you're trying to do right and wrong.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. You have 2 choices because you've decided I can only have this or that, because what I choose has to be right and it can't be wrong. So then you will limit your choices, control, because it has to show up. Yeah. It has to show up the way you've decided it'll show up, and that you can handle it. If you had all choices available, would you be able to control it?
Nope.
So, dun.
Doesn't it sound like hard work, everybody?
Hard work is like what we do to ourselves, trying to pretend that we have limited choice and we can only choose A or B, or be right or wrong.
Yeah. I mean, so many times I've had people call me about relationship and they're like, should I leave this person or stay? I'm like, that's not even a real choice. like,
because leaving them will be wrong or right, or staying
they're
will
like,
be wrong
well,
or right.
leaving is they're wrong and I'm right. Staying is I'm wrong and they're right.
They're right.
And then I'm like, that has nothing to do with anything. It's
and
like
they're the only 2 choices I have available, because I don't actually have choice. I only have what's right or what's wrong.
Yeah. And then the next question could be like, when? You're like, huh? No, it's about whether I'm leaving them or not. And I'm like, yeah, but when are you going to do it? You can do it like right now. But then we sit there, and then you sit there and like think about, but like that's what everybody does. They find something in the person that they're in relationship as like, this is the reason, blah, this is a bad thing and it's wrong, so I'm going to leave them.
Do you know, that's what Gary was showing me, and he actually made a video. For any of you who don't know, there's a Telegram thread for Elugar, and he's so fucking brilliant, and he's been saying this for years. He's literally saying the same thing over and over and over and over. If any of you have been to any classes at all with him, you don't have to go to an advanced class with Gary to hear him say what he says at advanced classes.
You have to pay him lots of money.
He says the same thing over and over. It's literally in the Bars manual. But in the Telegram thread, they posted a video, and I'll post a Telegram
I'm
thread.
so glad to hear you say that, by the way, because anytime I ever said that, after I said it in a podcast or something, I would always make myself wrong because I'd be like, oh, fuck, I shouldn't have said that.
No. I mean, go to the events classes because they're amazing. Yes. But we have all the tools here if we would use them. So
well, it's like, again, go to the advanced class or not go to the advanced class.
Because it's a choice.
Because it's a choice, not it's right or wrong.
Yeah, you're not right for going, not wrong for not going. But if you had all choices available, what would you choose?
But you're wrong if you didn't watch this podcast.
Especially all the way through. If you made it this far, you're doing good. Like, this is the longest podcast ever.
You guys are right.
The Rightness and Wrongness is my longest podcast with Connor Hill. We're taking the award, Connor. So he made this video in the Elugar thread, and he was talking about how he sent the girl that works with him, Stella, to an auction to buy. Anyway, she was at the auction. She called him and she said, "There's these like wooden. They weren't even doors. They were just wooden pieces of wood, shutters for sale at the auction."
Oh yeah.
And she goes, "Do you want to buy these shutters, Gary?" And he's like, he looked at it and he went, Truth, do I require these shutters? Will it create greater if I buy these shutters? Yes, no. And he got yes. And so he goes, "Okay, Stella, buy them." And she bought them. And now the shutters are what made the bathroom cabinets at El Lugar.
Yeah, those are so cool.
And so
they're beautiful.
So in that moment in time, he just went, yes, no, yes. And then he got yes, it'll create greater. He had no idea what he was going to use them for. He had no idea where they were going to go. And then obviously, things got rearranged and now they made these cabinets in El Lugar. So what I was looking at, I was like, well, you said something, Connor, I kind of lost my train of thought, but like how much he functions from yes, no universe. So the other day, this lady called me and she's like, "I want to come to the 3-day body class." I'm looking at it. And she was in her head. And I said, "Get into your body." And so I was like, feel your body, touch your body, feel the earth. And I said, just come out of your head and just ask your body, truth, body, do you desire to be at this class? And she got yes. I was like, okay, so it's yes. And I was like, and it's still just a choice. And it was so interesting. Right after that, she went back into her head to go for but I went to this class already, and what about this? And I didn't do this. And if I do this, I can't do that. And what about the money? And then and all that stuff that you just talked about that we do about the relationship. You said, if I go, it'll mean this. If I stay, it'll mean this. But Gary functions from yes, no.
Yeah. So it's like truth. Can our heads do anything but yes, no, but right and wrong?
No. Well, I get that we can also retrain our minds.
To what?
Well, for me, I've given my mind and I've over time given it new jobs.
Like what?
So when I go into all that, I'll distract it.
With what?
Creation.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I'll be like, okay, let's do this, let's do that, let's go here, let's do that.
That's fun.
Yeah. I still do the head tripping.
Yeah.
But the more and more I create, the less and less I head trip.
But is creating using your mind?
No.
Okay, then. See, that makes me right.
Or even I don't know, distract your mind by asking a question, interrupt the thing by so.
Yeah.
If I'm going, oh, I don't know, should I go to this class? I don't know, do I have the money? If I spend the money, am I? And actually, one of the things Gary said to me is I said something about being crazy, but being crazy is where you try to make yourself wrong.
Wow.
So even today, I was like, am I crazy doing all this? And then I was like, oh, I'm not actually asking a question here. I'm coming to a conclusion that I'm crazy rather than going, what does this choice create? So if you've done the foundation class, it's incredible because there's questions in that foundation class that I still use. And so you were talking about the relationship. The question, if I choose this, what will my life be like? 100 years from now? And if I don't choose this, will my life be like 100 years from now? That has been the question that has created my relationship. Whenever I felt like I wanted to leave or whatever, I would ask that question.
Yeah.
And I would just go with the energy. And so far, it's always been light to stay. So I'm like, okay, I'm just following the lightness. And it takes you out of your mind.
Honestly, I think that's my point of view is it's the best way to create a relationship.
Yes, no universe.
Yeah.
Does this create greater? But for everything, whatever you're looking at.
And if you get a no, then you can just be like, I'm breaking up with this person, but don't tell the other person. Just do it in your own head. For right now, I'm breaking up with them. For today, or however long you need, like for the next hour, we are so broken up.
I've done that.
And then you tell yourself in your head, breaking up with them now.
I tell people all the time.
You can even make that face too, like.
Some days Mike's my husband. Mike becomes my roommate. I'm like, oh, he's just my roommate today.
Yeah.
And he even says it to me. Some days it's like, we're just roomies. I'm like, yep, we're roommates right now.
Yeah.
And some days he's my boyfriend and some days he's my husband. So like, what if you could have fun with it?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I love this. This is so funny. So there's this question in Access that says, what's right about this that I'm not getting? I stopped saying that. Isn't that still in training rightness?
Well, isn't that still in training rightness? Isn't a question.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
No, the point of the question, what's right about this I'm not getting, is when you're trying to make everything wrong about something. Or when you have something in your life that sounds really terrible, and then you go, what's right about this? So you can actually discover the awareness that you're avoiding with the wrongness that you're choosing.
Yeah. This question is actually very close to my heart, because I found Access when I was heavy in the AA 12-step program, which was a lot about looking.
I must say, as you talk about the AA 12-step program, I feel like I wrote the book, even though I've never even freaking taken the AA. I'm like, oh my God, that's my life.
I'm sure you were Bob in another lifetime. It's Bill and Bob wrote the book.
Oh my God, Bob?
You were Bob. I was Bill.
Oh, good.
Well, so I remember just being in so much wrongness, and then someone that question was one of the first questions I heard. What's right about me that I'm not getting? So for me, for someone who'd constantly be looking at what was wrong about me, what was fucked up about me, trying to find out the defect in me so I could fix it, turning around and saying, what's right about me that I'm not getting, changed my whole reality.
Yeah.
I wasn't looking for, oh, now I'm going to be right. I was actually looking at, oh, I'm not fucked up.
I'm not wrong.
I'm not wrong. There's actually something great about me.
Yeah.
That I'm not getting.
Yeah. When you ask that question, what's right about me I'm not getting, when you're doing wrongness of you, it's really helpful.
Yeah. And it's not it's not trying to turn the wrongness to rightness. It's trying to actually get you out of where.
Because you're also a lot of times when you're doing wrongness is so you can avoid being right. Because you've made right wrong.
Or is it when you're trying to avoid being great?
Yeah.
Have we misidentified rightness with greatness? Wow.
So everywhere we've all identified. Am I saying that word right?
Yeah, you did.
Am I saying it right?
Yeah, you did. It just sounds weird.
I know, because I got to tell you, when Gary used to talk about when you're doing this, and I'd read it into 10 Keys to Total Freedom. When you're doing this, you're doing right. But when you're not doing this, then you can be correct. I'm like, what the fuck? What?
I know.
What? How do you, what? The fuck are you talking about, dude?
I know. Can you translate, please?
What? I'm like, what the hell is he talking about? But yeah, what you just said, because now I forgot what you just said.
So you said, so I said, well, do we misidentify rightness? Do we misidentify greatness as rightness?
Yeah.
And that was one thing. So if you're not willing to acknowledge where you're being great, you'll make yourself wrong.
Kind of like you with the lady on the train. Like, you're being great because you're awesome and she's stupid. And then you're like, oh no, I was trying to be a right bitch. I'm wrong now. When in reality, you weren't trying to be a right bitch. Because a right bitch never thinks she's wrong.
Wow, that's a meme. A right bitch never thinks she's wrong.
Or he.
Wow.
A right dick never thinks he's wrong.
Oh.
Dick
Wow.
or something else. Whatever.
Wow.
Because like the whole point of right is that they're never going to go to the wrong.
And the whole point of being wrong is you're never going to go to the right.
Right. Which is why when you're trying to be wrong and that's how you're right, you're never going to go to the wrongness of you making yourself wrong. Wait, no, that's not how that would work.
This show is like a riddle.
I actually do go to the wrongness of making myself wrong.
You do.
I'm like, I'm wrong.
You make yourself wrong.
You're such an idiot. I'm
Judge
wrong.
yourself for being wrong.
More wrongness. Look how right I am and how wrong I am.
Wow. This is like it's like a riddle, isn't it? I actually did say that the other day. I was like, this is so, what's the word?
And one of my favorite, we should probably, it'd probably be good to even like leave people with the brand new tools that have been here forever called, what do I love about this? And is it relevant?
I love that one. Is it relevant?
Is it I'm wrong. Relevant? Is this even relevant? No. Although I didn't ask that today. I was making myself wrong today.
You were?
And I didn't ask, is this relevant?
Connor, if you want, okay, actually, this is a good place at home play.
Because I forgot that we were doing a telecall on rightness and wrongness, but literally had I just gone, oh, is this mine or does this have to do with the telecall? I would have been aware of, oh, it has to do with the telecall, and it probably would have been gone and be fine.
My research, I'm researching for the telecall, and telecall. It's a podcast. Maybe we should do a telecall because this is a deep running topic here. Like that's hard to get to in a podcast. So if we're not making sense, our apologies. Maybe you need to listen to this a couple of times. Get your bars run 100 times. And what I was so it's so funny because I was making myself right today and then making myself wrong for being right, and you were doing the same. So Connor, question from a participant. Is there a right way of asking a question?
Yes. There is a correct way, actually, which you just asked. Well, actually, one of my favorite thing was Gary and Dane and Simone and Brendan just did a Creative Edge telecall where Gary said something along the lines of question is the choice and the possibility. And there were some other words in there floating around. Because the whole time on that call, I was like, oh my God, what the fuck is going on? And I was like, I think this is just changing my whole reality around question.
Yeah, and if you have an agenda or you're trying to get a result. So if you're trying to be right or you're trying to be wrong, you don't actually have question. You don't have possibility, and you can't have awareness. And
actually, one of my favorite things, it's like you don't want to get it. You don't
want to get it, which is brilliant because some of these questions tonight is it's almost like you can see, guys, like where you're also like the questions you're bringing up is like you're still trying to get it right.
And you're still trying to get it. It's like sex and money. You don't want to get it. You want to be getting it. You don't want to get it once and then never get it again. You want to be getting it all the time as much as you can.
I'm going to write that down because that's a meme.
I like it.
Well, that's brilliant. That's like total.
Awareness is like sex and money. You want to be getting it all the time. And then some people are like, I don't want any sex.
Yeah. But like that just, wow.
Well, so then you just haven't had the right sex.
Wow.
I'm
Sex
kidding for
and
everybody
money.
out there.
Sex and money. You don't want to get it. You want to be getting it all the time.
Well, you don't. All the time was really just a joke.
Yes,
I was
but we
hoping
get
that.
it.
Okay, hopefully.
We get it. I get it. Same as question and
Yeah.
awareness. Question, awareness, possibility. You don't want to get it. You
Yeah.
want to be asking it, being it,
Getting
receiving it all the time, getting it all
And
the time.
more. Mm-hmm.
More and more all the time. Wow. Oh my goodness.
How does it get any better than this?
How does it? So if you never had to be right and you never had to be wrong. Oh my God. What choice would you have?
I would just breathe.
Hmm.
Right now, I would. But that's a conclusion.
I just love it. I have to like this is just shows how what we do. Like, Connor, my question isn't a question. Connor said my question isn't a question. So I'm asking, did I do it wrong in the way I asked my question? And is there a right way?
Well, it's like, what was the question?
I don't even know what the question is at this stage.
I can't remember. It was something
We don't know
like,
what your question was.
I can't remember. I'm sorry.
Well, I think you said, what's right about this I'm not getting. I stopped saying that. Isn't that still in training rightness?
Yeah. Isn't that still in training? If you're doing isn't that, you're pretty much saying this is the thing. You need to align and agree with me or tell me I'm wrong, which isn't a question. The purpose of a question is to gain awareness, period.
Yeah.
So if you're asking a question to get an answer, you're not really asking a question.
Or if you're asking a question to prove something, it's not a question.
Yeah. And I get it. If this is the first time you've heard this is messed up. Like, first time I heard it, I'm like, what?
Or if it's the 100th time you heard it.
Yeah. Question, awareness, answer. What the hell? What? How do I know if I'm asking for awareness or and the thing is, if you're here, you've probably asked at least one question or multiple for awareness.
Yeah.
Just like right now I'm going blank.
Well, so the other day, like, I was literally cringing.
Yeah.
At how much I was still doing rightness. I was like, am I really still doing this? Like,
yeah.
And so like this energy that's coming up for this person here, even like, oh my God, I'm not asking a question. Is this a question? Did I ask it in the correct way? How can I fix it? Like, I was even doing that the other day. I was like, well,
yeah.
So how can I stop this? And how can I was still trying to find the right way of changing this.
Yeah.
Rather than just like, what if it's actually way easier than we're making it?
Yeah, it is.
Like, what if it really is, hey, what would I like to choose right now? If I had no past, no present, no future, like if it was my first day on the planet.
10 seconds to live the rest of your life, what would you choose?
What would you choose right now? That 10 seconds is up. What would you choose? Yes, no.
Like, because I would say, like, a different question you could ask about isn't what is right about this I'm not getting still in training rightness. Gonna get noisy again.
Yes, but we're about to finish. We've gone way over time.
Yeah, we have. Way too long.
I think this is me and Connor preparing for our telecall series.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I forgot.
Well, so what if we wrap it up here? All right. So I get it. The right and wrong. Look, this is the longest show I've ever done. I don't ever do shows this long. They're usually like 30, 40 minutes. This has been an hour over because we're talking about something that runs pretty deep. The rightness and wrongness. We've been trained really well to get the answer, to be right, to not be wrong. So what if we just actually have some allowance for ourselves? You are where you are right now. You are asking questions and you're constantly discovering more and more what it is to be the question. And what if, like, right now, you forget about all of it and you just asked, okay, I got 10 seconds to live my life. What would I like to choose? and start to play with small things that don't mean a lot to you, like what restaurant to go eat at, or what clothes to put on your body, or, you know, I don't know, what time you want to go to bed at, or what time you want to wake up at, or, you know, what exercise you want to do today, what movement. Like, pick some things that you don't have a lot of points of views around and do yes, no. 10 seconds of my life, what would I like to choose? And start to play with that, with the smaller things.
And if you're somebody that has literally like no time in the day, force yourself, because I know everybody. I've been somebody that worked so much that I was convinced I didn't have any time at all. And I know I still would have had 10 minutes in the morning to do like 10 seconds of choice. So like the moment you wake up, I have 10 seconds to live the rest of my life, what I'm going to choose. Am I going to stay in bed? Am I going to get out and get up and go take a shower? Am I going to call my mom? Am I going to cry? Am I going to think about being pathetic? Am I going to hate work? Am I going to but literally, if you look at it, like literally 10 seconds from now, I'm going to die. What would I like to choose?
Yeah, I love that.
You're like, you know, I mean, for me, when I first played that game, I was like, I would have sex. Yeah.
I was like, I'd masturbate if it's only 10 seconds left.
Exactly. I was like, yeah. Now I'm like, well, I guess I'll just hang out.
Go hug a tree.
Yeah.
I'll miss the trees.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much, Connor. This has been
and I'm not saying that because sex is not valuable anymore. I'm just saying it's like, because if there's a person lying next to me, yes, I will be like, hey, I got 10 seconds. I don't know about you, but let's do this, huh?
I still might go hug a tree.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. Thank you, Connor. So, Connor, if anybody wants to find you, your website is actually in the link here. It's
cool.
So people can click on it. What have you coming up? If people want to choose something with you, what classes have you coming up?
I have a lot of Conscious Horse, Conscious Rider in Brazil, Belgium, Turkey later in the year, somewhere else also. I'm actually doing a body process class in Minnesota. So I'm excited about that. I haven't heard about any classes in Minnesota in a long time. So I'm stoked about that. Yeah.
Wow.
I can't
Conscious Horse, Conscious Rider is, oh my God. I couldn't believe I waited 7 years to take that class. And when I took it, it was the most epic class I have taken. And I know I say that a lot, but it was like it was, oh, sweet Jesus. If you want to learn about choosing beyond judgment and right and wrong, like go take a class like with these horses and like a facilitator like you who's trained in it to ask questions. Wow.
It's they don't do right and wrong at all, actually.
No, horses do not do right and wrong. No. They do not do judgment. They're so energetically just congruent.
Yeah.
All the time.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, wow. And don't you have the How to Become Money workbook, advanced How to Become Money workbook coming up with
Actually,
Sol?
yes. I'm doing the advanced How to Become Money workbook with Sul currently. We are like 15 days in. It's intense.
Yeah.
It's really intense because there are over 70 questions in that book for you to come up with answers to. And we are doing one question a day. Wow. And each one of these questions is like having a ton of bricks falling on my head. So
wow. You're actually one of my favorite people to talk to about money and investing.
Yeah. Oh, thanks. That's amazing. So
I would highly suggest Connor for any money class.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, thanks for joining us, Connor.
You're just one of my favorite people to talk to, period. So we should do more of this. More talking. Even if people aren't watching. So.
Even if nobody gets us. We're just talking riddles. So let us know. If you'd like more conversations from me and Connor, send us a message.
Yeah.
We can create some magic. So amazing. Thank you so much, everyone. We'll see you again next week.